You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lyndia Grant.
Well, good evening, Radio 1 listeners. Thank you for tuning in to The Lyndia Grant Show. It is 2026. We are here today, our second show, and we recorded our first podcast. So I am so excited. When you go to my YouTube channel, The Lyndia Grant Show, Think on These Things, you're going to begin to see, probably by the weekend, the radio show and the YouTube, the podcast, where you can hear longer discussions from some of my guests. Dr. Julian is going to be on most weeks on the radio show, but she'll have a week to be my guest on the podcast, and she'll let you know what we're going to talk about. But thank you for tuning in to the Lyndia Grant Show. We're going to talk to Dr. Julian Malvo now, and then our second guest, you're going to hear from Denise Rollock Barnes, who is the editor for the Washington Informer, but she's also the co-chair for the Martin Luther King holiday peace walk and parade that happens over in Southeast DC. Dr. J, talk to us. You got about 12 minutes.
All righty. Well, there's plenty to talk about. If you went to bed, Friday night thinking all was well in the world, woke up on Saturday to find that we had captured or kidnapped, whatever word you want to use, the president of Venezuela, Mr. Maduro. He and his wife were apprehended. They were brought to the United States. They were incarcerated here. They were at a federal holding facility in Brooklyn, New York, the same one where Diddy was and where others were. He appeared in court Monday or Tuesday, and they asked him, was he guilty of narco-terrorism and all this other stuff? And he said, no. He said, I'm a legal elected president of Venezuela, and y'all had no business coming to, quote, kidnap me. That's what he said, and that's what they did. It's caused all kind of international outcry because what if somebody came and got our president, who also has been convicted of crimes? Just think about it. They're saying that he's convicted of crimes, well, so is the man who lives in a house that enslaved people built.
34 felonies.
Hello. So we are not adhering to international law, and many are upset. But this president, he does whatever he wants to, whenever he wants to do it, and he really doesn't care. He didn't go before Congress to ask for permission. Even on Tuesday, as Congress came back, they have yet to give a briefing on what they did and why they did it. They have yet to give a briefing, Lyndia. So maybe later in the week they will. We do record on Tuesdays, but they don't look like they're particularly eager to do that. They're doing whatever they want to do.
Wow, they have the majority, Dr. J. They don't seem to be doing nothing, do they?
No, they really don't. Now, for most of us who think about things geopolitically, this is more about oil than anything else. Venezuela has the largest oil reserve of any country in the world, the largest. In addition, because of U.S. pressure, they're producing less oil than they did 20 years ago. Once upon a time, about 3 million barrels a day, now more like less than 1 million barrels a day. So that affects the world. So when that man says, we're going to run Venezuela and we're going to take our oil back, what does he mean, take our oil back? It wasn't our oil. But he's setting up a situation that may well turn into a global war.
Yeah.
It may well, maybe not. But basically, there's serious legal, diplomatic, and human cost questions. Dozens of Venezuelans were killed in this capture of Nicolas Maduro. And if we have to go there, many Americans will be killed. That's the question. Do we want to see young American men and women who are soldiers killed because of somebody's ego trip and temper tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we are with Venezuela. This story is not going to go away. And I would encourage everybody who is listening, I would just ask you a question. What do you know about U.S. foreign policy? Why do I ask that? Because too many people do not. It would behoove us all to get up to date on contextually what this means. And so I'll leave Venezuela there for now, but I know we'll be back to this story because it's not going away.
Right.
It may take us a decade or more to get to the bottom of this. Maduro will have legal representation. The current president of Venezuela has said, give him back. This is not how we do business. But of course, this president doesn't care whether whether we do it right or not. He's just going to do it and then sit back and say, oh, well, you know, don't ask for permission. Ask for forgiveness or don't ask for forgiveness. Anyway, that's Venezuela. Now, meanwhile, this week, January 6th was Tuesday. It would be the fifth anniversary of those people storming the Capitol. And the January 6th committee, they didn't do any, they basically had reflections on Tuesday about what happened. Everybody is concerned, of course, about the demise of democracy, about what's going on. And so essentially what we're seeing is people saying, this is horrible. Yes, it is horrible. And the reason why they did this today, and I'm glad they did, is because this administration would like to have people forget about what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't think that they stormed the Capitol. They don't think that the president was encouraging them. They think this was just kind of like a kerfluffle. They tried to minimize it. But some of the Secret Service people who were hurt, or some of the Capitol Police who were hurt, they're saying this makes no sense at all. You talk about law and order. Well, what about us? People were beaten with batons. Somebody committed suicide. They were so badly hurt. So, this is where we are, and we really have to pay attention to this, and it's not a very good thing. Now, what else has happened on the Hill? Well, Hexpeth, the Secretary of Defense, or he calls himself the Secretary of War, whatever he is going after Arizona Senator Mark Kelly. They're targeting his military retirement. They're saying that they made a commercial that said you do not have to obey illegal orders. I think that commercial is really important in the context of what if people are ordered to go into Venezuela? What other countries have they mentioned? Greenland. They've mentioned Colombia, which is contiguous to Venezuela. They've mentioned Cuba. Basically, what this man is trying to do is to dominate the Western Hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
That's his goal. But what does that mean to our troops? And meanwhile, for Senator Kelly, what does that mean? He served our country. He was an astronaut. They want to take his retirement money back because of the commercial he made. That is absolutely wrong, but it's literally.
The commercial was the truth. My goodness.
Exactly.
It wasn't unlawful at all.
But they want to punish him. And, he may end up having to go to court. Of course, that costs thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going after him because he told the truth. Yeah, that's the best way to put it, Lyndia. They're going after him because he told the truth.
Told the truth, yeah.
Now, a couple other things that are going on that haven't made big headlines, but they should be. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting, PBS and NPR, they are closing. They're closing because the federal government will not fund them anymore. Their board of directors said, okay, maybe we just better close. What does that mean? Here in Washington, D.C., our stations, WAMU, WHUT, Howard Station, they won't get a federal subsidy. Many of them will be able to raise their own money. They have strong subscribers, but others will not. And really, CPB was initially funded in 1967, not for the DCs or the LAs of the world, but for the Utahs and the small cities that didn't have news coverage. Mm-hmm. So what's going to happen to them? Well, it's going to take a year or so for this to unfold. And we can hope that with the midterm elections, we will have opportunities for people to push back. But right now, the board at CPB has thrown their hands up and said, I don't know what we can do. So that's that. The other thing that's happening, and it's important to the 2026 election, is the post office. Post office, U.S. Postal Service, is one of the most democratic institutions we have. It reaches everyone. But now, between trying to privatize it and change the rules, and especially changing the rules about mail-in ballots, basically the Postal Service and our democracy is being eroded. Now, this, you haven't seen this in a headline, or you may have seen it in a headline, but you haven't seen deep analysis on it. What is it? So right now, if you vote by mail, you put your ballot in the mailbox. It's postmarked right away. Now, there may be some delays in delivering that, but that's what happens. Now they're saying, no, we're going to send it to a central processing place where it'll be postmarked. So that's a day or two delay. So if the election is the first Tuesday in November, you might want to have to get your stuff in by the end of October. And unfortunately, too many voters procrastinate. And if they get it in on that last day, it may not be counted. In the last election, over 500,000 ballots were returned or not counted because they came too late. So this is what we're looking at now. And Lyndia, it's really quite frightening.
I think you used up your minutes, Dr. J.
Okay, I would just get one more, just one quick one. This is the 100th anniversary of Black History Month. It was Negro History Week in 1926, and now it's 2026. Carter G. Woodson launched this day, Negro History Week, and we now celebrate Black History Month. It's been 100 years of us celebrating ourselves, and let's make it another 100. Lyndia, if I've used up all my time,
yes,
thank you.
All right.
And folks, please pay attention. Please pay attention to foreign policy in Venezuela.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Julian. We'll talk to you next week. Now we're going to go to our commercial break, and we'll be back in a moment.
If it wasn't for my care coach at AmeriHealth, I probably wouldn't be so healthy right now. As a man, we don't get checkups or see a doctor regularly anyways. It's probably just a man thing because none of my partners go either. We know we should, but we just don't, and hope it works out.
So what changed for you?
AmeriHealth assigned me a care coach, somebody that gives one-on-one help, answer questions, explain things, and help set my appointments. She also helped me understand what having high blood pressure really means and ways to manage it so it doesn't kill me. It ain't nothing to play with. If you're a member of AmeriHealth, ask for a care coach. I'm glad I got mine.
At AmeriHealth, if you need a care coach, you can have one. Just call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Washington Informer religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
And that day came. I wonder if there are any of us who have any real idea about how despairing many are today. Do you have any concept at all of how hopeless life appears to be for many young people in our day? On every side, there are troubles, and they don't know where to turn. They find no sense of meaning to life. There are not merely passing fancies. They are conditions under which some live all the time without a ray of hope. Invite your friends to worship service. That'll help them. I feel strongly that we need to lift up our voices on these matters because God will be the light that will shine in those dark places.
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
This is Frank Smith with the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it, be inspired.
Well, good evening, Radio 1 listeners, and now to the world. We're doing our podcast. This is our first episode in 2026. I'm so happy to have Denise Rolark Barnes and Stuart Anderson, her co-chairs for the Martin Luther King annual Peace March Parade, and they have a whole group of activities. So that's why I wanted to do a podcast, because on my radio show, we get a chance to tell them some of it on Radio 1 Spirit 1340. But we get a chance on the podcast, listeners. When you go to my YouTube channel, you should see both of them. Right now, we're going to just talk like we do on Radio 1. And we're going to just talk about, tell the listeners, in 7 or 8 minutes, and we can ask questions until we get around 10 or 12 minutes. And then we're going to go to a commercial break. And then we're going to come back and go into details. So Denise is the founder of the Martin Luther King Peace March. And I think you call it a peace march, but it's a parade. And it's very large now. They have it on TV, and Stuart is our co-chair. Talk to us about that, the vision of it, and how it got started, and how's it doing?
So, Lindy, it's good that we set the record straight. So one of the things I want folks to do is to go to mlkholidaydc.org. That's our website.
Okay.
When you visit that website, you'll get a lot of history and details, and also the list of activities that are taking place this year. As you know, in the early 70s, my dad, Dr. Rolark, my stepmother, Wilhelmina Rolark, and Petey Green got together right after, not long after the assassination of Dr. King, and during the time that there was a push to have a federal holiday named after Dr. King. And so for the listeners that don't know, Nichols Avenue on Martin Luther King Avenue, Martin Luther King Avenue was formerly Nichols Avenue. And Councilmember Rolark, who again served on the council for 16 years, was responsible for making the name change to Martin Luther King Avenue. And all of this was done, after Dr. King's assassination and prior to the establishment of a national holiday. And so at that point, the three of them got together. They held the first Martin Luther King parade up. I don't know if it was Nichols or Martin Luther King at the time. Stevie Wonder attended.
Wow.
Stuart can fill in some of the details, but that parade went for several years during the time that she served on the council, and it was a very long parade. It was about 2 miles long. And rain, snow, sleet, or hail, folks were out there marching and commemorating Dr. King's birthday. Well, time goes on. There are other council members. There are other things that got in the way of the MLK parade. So it was basically discontinued. One day, myself, Yango Sawyer, community activist, Keith Silver, also a community activist, the three of us had a conversation and said, we should just have a march. Let's just march for Dr. King. How can we not do something on Martin Luther King on the holiday? Because by this time, how can we not do something on Martin Luther King Avenue? And so we got together all of the organizations in the city that were involved in peace and stopping the violence and all of that. There are a lot of, organizations that still exist that are in that work. Now there are even more. And we did a peace walk. That's what we called it, because we didn't have the, wherewithal to put a parade together. So we did a peace walk, and Mayor Fenty joined us. And we only had the sidewalk. We only had permission to walk on the sidewalk. It was amazing. A couple hundred people showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And Mayor Fenty told the MPD, look, give them the street. And we marched up Martin Luther King Avenue. And
Even on the first one?
the very first one.
Look, I know because of doing Georgia Avenue Day, you got to go to the mayor, especially the task force, and get everything approved. But when the mayor said, put y'all on the street, you were on the street.
We're on the street.
We didn't know anything. We didn't know anything about no special task force for events.
Yeah.
So, should have called you, Lyndia, because I know how much you all put into the Georgia Avenue. That was a parade in DC.
Yes, it was.
So you did amazing work there. I could have used your advice on that. Probably still could. But at any rate, yeah, so over time of doing a peace walk, there was just this demand from the community and within our committee, because we, every year we said we're going to do this peace walk. We're going to do a peace walk. And someone said, look, when are we going to do a parade again? And Stuart and I were saying, a parade is a lot different.
A lot of work.
Walk. There are more costs involved. There are more.
Gotta get permits.
Oh yeah.
It can be a chore, but we heard the call and we proceeded to do that. And here we are, 21 years later?
21,
oh my gosh.
Yes.
After watching the parade with Dr. Rollard, stopping and now you're doing both, the peace walk and the parade. I love it.
Yes. Yep.
And it's so huge. I know it's on News Channel 80. You all are broadcasting live usually every year, right?
Well, it helped because we had one of our announcers for the parade was Sam Ford. Sam Ford brought in, WJLA and News Channel 8.
Oh, wow. Love Sam Ford. He used to announce for Georgia Avenue Day.
Exactly. So they were great partners with us in the beginning, and they, actually filmed the whole thing and did stories. I mean, time has passed and that, it's not the same kind of exposure, but they're still very supportive, as are most of the media outlets in DC, including, the Radio One,
yes,
because they come out, they'll broadcast, they'll provide, entertainment. So it's a community event that we are so proud to keep on Martin Luther King Avenue in Ward 8.
Well, tell us your list, because we got to keep the first part of our show for the radio. So let's make sure we tell them all the activities that are going on for the weekend, and then we'll come back and talk some more about each one.
Well, I'm gonna toss it to Stuart, who I should say, Lyndia, before he gets on, is that Stuart sort of, became like a right hand, amazed at how, I don't know, dedicated he was to this.
Yes.
Your right hand becomes, the dominant hand. And that's come, with this. I mean, we couldn't do this. One year I was worried because Stuart, was on crutches, but he's still out there marching with us.
Yes. It sounds good. I'm excited about it. I'm going to ask Denise if she will go over the schedule again, because you put in so much detail. It's not going to fit my radio show. I'm trying to get a segment in this podcast, and I don't mind listeners knowing this is our first show, that I can cut, my editor can cut for radio. So now you got to do the radio version, Denise.
Okay, so on Monday, January the 12th, we will have an event at, that's where Stuart comes in.
Living Word
Church on Martin Luther King Avenue in Southwest. I don't have the address in front of me, but at Living Word Church, it's an evening
of remembrance
program, an evening of remembrance that will start, I think it's 6 to 9. On Friday, actually, we Covenant Baptist Church will have its 3rd annual lecture. I think that's actually on Saturday. I'm trying to make this for you. To make this work for you, Lyndia. But anyway, let's jump to the prayer breakfast. So on Saturday, January the 17th, we'll have our 8th annual prayer breakfast at Covenant Baptist Church. It will begin at 9 a.m. and end at 12:30 p.m. Covenant is located at 3845 South Capitol Street Southwest. The Right Reverend Marianne Edgar Buddy, who's the Bishop of Washington Episcopal Diocese of Washington, D.C., will be our speaker. Tickets are available. Again, you can go to mlkholidayDC.org and get your tickets. We hope that you, and I'm so excited the Eastern High School Choir will be performing. We have
yes.
Who will be performing. So that's going to be a great event. And on Sunday, again, we go back to Covenant, where their speaker will be presented, and they have their annual MLK Sunday worship service. And then at 9 a.m. on Monday, January the 19th, the MLK holiday, the Peace Walk will gather at Sumner and Firth Sterling Avenue in Southeast. Also is the place where the parade will begin, and the parade and Peace Walk will kick off at 10:30 a.m. and we will be going down Martin Luther King Avenue from Sumner to Marion Barry Avenue on Monday, January 19th, beginning at, as I said, 10:30 and ending no later than 2 o'clock. We also have volunteer
health fair.
Oh, yes. In there, we also will have our health and wellness fair that's going to take place at the parking lot, the PNC parking lot on Martin Luther King Avenue, next door to Bus Boys and Poets. And we also have a volunteer community cleanup project that's also going to take place on the 19th. And those folks will gather at 10:30 at the PNC parking lot as well. So I think that's all of it.
Okay. Very good. Sounds good. But tell them to go to the website again.
Yes, please go to mlkholidayDC.org. Again, that's mlkholidayDC.org. And all of the details, the flyers and all the information's there. We ask you to sign up if you want to participate. There's still room for participants. You can still buy tickets for the prayer breakfast, and you can take those flyers and share them on your social media platforms to help us to promote this event.
Very good. Stuart, you want to say some more?
Oh, look, participate, man. You guys have really got to participate. If we don't participate in honoring and recognizing and lifting up and promoting people like Dr. King, then who's going to do it? If we don't talk about, the importance of it from an individual perspective, how will our children and our successive generations begin to do that?
All right, that does it for the Lyndia Grant Show. Good day.
Thank you for listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with your host, Lyndia Grant.